Sometimes you need to go through an array or collection, right? For example, if you have an array and you want to add the values of elements together, right, and save the result inside a variable. So to do this task in a traditional way, you will use a for loop, right? So for I equals 0, as long as I is less than the length of that array, you will add one element, the value of one element to the summation. So there is another way to do this task, and that's by using enhanced for loop. So by using enhanced for loop, you do not need to use the counter. You can iterate through any array or any collection, right? So as you see in this example, we have an enhanced for loop. So for int number be values, so by that we actually are iterating over the values of this array. That's very easier, right? Okay, so in this example, I'm going to show a very simple example about enhanced for loop. So first, I'm going to initialize a very simple array, right? So int list b 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'm going to print the value of elements in this list. So for int number list system.out.print number. Okay, so you see that I can see the value of elements of this array is the output. So what if I want to multiply each value by 5 and then print the result? So int, for example, result be number multiplied by 5. And then I'm going to print the result. So you see, I can see the results here, right? Each value has been multiplied by 5, multiplied to 5. For the first one is 5, 10, 15, 20, and 25. Sometimes you need to pass several parameters to a method and you don't know the number of those parameters. So there is a way that makes this situation possible. So a method actually can have an unspecified number of arguments, right? So in order to make this possible, the appropriate format for that is type name, ellipsis, and variable name, right? So you will write the name of the method, and inside the parentheses you need to write down the parameter lists, right? So there is a very small point here that the parameters that have unspecified number of numbers, right, number of elements should be located at the end of the parameter list. And it can occur just once. So that's the points that you need to keep in mind. So you see one simple example here. For example, do task int x and double values. So we have in this parameter list several parameters, right? The first one is x with the type integer and the rest are double, right? So the illegal format for this example is, for example, double values in size. It's illegal. Why? Because double values needs to be located at the end, right? Or for example, the second one, we have double dot values in dot numbers. That's illegal. Why? The reason is that we have two of them, but we just can have one of them. Okay, so that's about the variable length parameter lists. So you can see a very simple example here down here. We have a void print stats double values. So this method accepts a variable length parameter list with the type of double. Okay, and then the rest of the method. Okay, let's see a very simple example for enhanced for loop. So we have what we are going to do is we are going to have a method named average. This method is going to receive accept some numbers and calculate the average of these numbers and return that, right? So we will create a method here. This method is public static double average with double numbers. So here, this method has a variable length parameter list, right? So it can accept several parameters with the same type, and that type is double, but the number of these variables are unspecified, so it can be 2, 3, or whatever. So here we are going to initialize a variable, and it's total, right? It's 0. So for double d, we are going to iterate through these numbers and add them together. So total b, total plus d, right? This is numbers. And finally, we are going to return the average. So the average is total divided by the numbers dot length, right? Okay. So let's use this method inside the main method. So inside the main method, I'm going to declare and initialize some numbers with the type double. So double d1 be 10 double D2 be 20, double D3 be 30, double D4 be 40. So now I'm going to print, call the average for example, two of them. So double average, for example, average 1b, average D1 and D2, double average 2b, average D1, D2, D3, and D4, right? And finally, system.out.print average 1, system.out.print average 2. Right? So let's run the program and see the result. So the first one is 15 and the second one is 25, right? So 10 plus 20 divided by 2, 30 divided by 2 is 15. And 10 plus 20 plus 30 plus 40 is 100 divided by 4 is 25. So you see that it works perfectly. And here, the method accepts two parameters. Here, the method accepts 4 parameters, right? And here I have used enhanced for loop.